G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Friday the 8th of June 2018 and the time here is 09:45 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, just so you know, I'm not on holidays or anything. This setting is actually my backyard. People have been commenting on the comments. Sorry about the mower in the background this morning. It makes it nice when the birds are singing and everything, but there's a clown out there on a mower, right on mower, mowing his lawn, which is pretty ridiculous because we just had about 2 inches of rain this morning. So I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's over there cursing, blinding and stuff and trying to get his lawn mowed for some reason. I don't get it, but there you go. Yeah, we bought an acre of land in the rainforest, so we you know, this is what we wake up to every day, which is very relaxing and calming in the extreme. Well, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I said, I mentioned about the South China Sea, and I've mentioned it the conflict that's going, there's no conflict, but the actual stuff going on in the South China Sea. Well, things ratcheted up recently when China put some ballistic missiles and short-range missiles and radio jamming electronic equipment, etc., on these islands, and the Americans said, guys, you can't do that shit. And it specifically got bad when the Chinese actually used long-range bombers there. Now, as I said, and as I've always said, the Americans are not going to let this go on while ever, you know, they'll let it go on until such times as it becomes a problem for Pine Gap, which is in the middle of Australia. Well, it's kind of in the middle, it's not right in the middle, but it's in the Northern Territory, about halfway down the Northern Territory. Now, from the Spratly Islands, and these islands that the Chinese are taking over, that's about for a bomber, that would be about a 4-hour flight. So think about that, that's 4 hours. That's a commercial jetliner, so, okay, let's split hairs, let's say it's 6. So you're talking about somewhere that's 6 hours from Pine Gap now. Now the Americans would be going, that's a bit not very nice of you, Mr. Xiao Jinping, who is now, by the way, a total dictator in China, because he's now given himself the title Prime Minister or President for life. You know, what's going on in these places, you just don't know, do you? But like I said, you would hope that somebody somewhere will just go, look guys, this is bullshit. What are you doing? Calm down and get out of there. And the Chinese turn around and go, yeah, okay, well, you know, we pushed our limits. But you can't really see China going, and I'm going to show you why this is really important for all Australians to understand what is going on up there. It's the area that's disputed, I've showed you before, is very high in a lot of things like fish, minerals, mining, gas fields, oil fields, are all underneath these islands. So you can see why the Chinese want them. And as I've said to you, the Chinese are broke. They have no money. They have gold, but they don't have money. They don't have any at all. Like, they're actually physically broke. They're more broke than the rest of the world, to be honest. They've actually got triple the amount of debt. So as much as they like to think that they can, you know, and building, and this is the same for every country, by the way, building great big military industrial complexes takes a lot of money. So you've got to think that someone along the line is going to say, guys, this is ridiculous, come on, wake up to yourselves. But that doesn't seem to be happening at the moment. So, you know, okay, so it's bad. Let's put it that way. Now I'm going to show you, and I'm specifically showing you this for one bloke who last week called me a whinger because I showed you, I went through all about this before the other day. So I'm just going to show you now, and this material was sent by a sub, Hope and Sin, so who I know personally anyway. She's part of the research group we've got going, and she sent me these, and I'm very thankful for her for sending them. So let me show you. I'll put the links in the description box at the end so you can see where these came from. I think this one's from the Express. But I want to show you this first. Last week, after Mattis gave his speech to China that I played for you guys last week, or I read for you guys if I remember, the US sent B-52 bombers flying through there. Now, this may surprise you, but the US, the reason I'm going to show you this is because I want you to see these islands as they are now. They are not, and I repeat, they are not they used to be, like an idyllic little atoll that people could go there and fish and swim and, you know, have fun and, you know, whatever. They aren't like that anymore. These were uninhabited, by the way. And if they were inhabited, it was by fishermen that wanted to live there, sort of thing. So last week, the US sent B-52 bombers. Now, why is that significant? Well, there is a standing fleet of B-52 bombers at Pine Gap. I don't know whether you guys know that or not. I think it's 4. Might be 6. But I'm pretty sure, if I remember, it's 4. It's no more than that, no more than 6 anyway. Fully armed, and they can fly, you know, to America and back from Pine Gap, which is a fully fledged camp, guys, American base. Let's be honest. They've got everything there. Now, because this happened where it happened, you might think that these jets were either in Japan or Australia. They didn't fly from the US, that's for sure. So, as I said, this is now getting serious, but the Chinese have absolutely flipped out about this, and the Americans have said quite rightly, well, you know, guys, this is international area, we can fly wherever we want. You've been told that this is not this is not your land by the international mediation. Listen to this, just this section. The flyover came days after Secretary of Defence James Mattis called Beijing out over its militarization of the islands, accusing China of intimidation coercion in the Indo-Pacific region, making clear the US has no plans to leave the region and prompting a furious Chinese response. Beijing claims the Spratly Islands, but those claims aren't recognised by the US or by China's neighbours, Malaysia, Vietnam, the Philippines and Taiwan, which also say the islands are theirs. China has used geographic features in the Spratlys to build man-made islands, some of which it has equipped with military facilities. I'm going to show you those pictures in a minute, folks, and you're going to flip when you see them, including anti-ship and anti-aircraft missiles. Just 1 second, folks. General Mattis says, make no mistake, America is in the Indo-Pacific to stay, Mattis said. This is our priority theatre. Now, this bit is interesting, folks. Let me read this. Mattis specifically called out Beijing's militarization of artificial islands in the South China Sea, home to some of the world's busiest sea lanes, which it is. We are aware China will face an array of challenges and opportunities in coming years, i.e. they're broke and they need money, etc. We are prepared to support China's choices if they promote long-term peace and prosperity for all in this dynamic region, Mattis said. Now, it gets a bit worse than that. Listen to this. The Pentagon last week ratcheted up rhetoric about China's militarizations of islands in the South China Sea, even as the Trump administration presses China for cooperation on North Korea. When asked by a reporter about the ability of the US to blow apart one of China's controversial man-made islands, Lieutenant General Kenneth McKenzie, Director of the Joint Staff, told reporters, now listen to this folks, "I would just tell you that the United States military has had a lot of experience in the Western Pacific taking down small islands." Woo, that's a big comment, folks. That is a massive comment. Now, I'll read the Chinese comments here. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Huai Chunying said the United States had to stop hyping up Chinese action in the South China Sea, describing recent statements by Washington as blatant lies. Could be, who knows? If someone frequently flexes his muscles or snoops around your house, shouldn't you raise your alertness and improve your defence capabilities, she said at a regular press briefing Wednesday. Well, I would argue with that it's actually not your backyard, love. So, China will not be intimidated by any planes or ships. We will only be firmer in our resolve to take all necessary measures to safeguard our sovereignty and security, as well as maintain peace and stability in the South China Sea. Well, they're not really promoting peace and stability. Okay, well, you get the general picture from, me reading that. Now what I'm going to say, what I'm going to show you is exactly what China is doing there. Now remember, stick in your mind, atolls, okay, beautiful little reefs, blah, 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 blah. You go there with your wife on a trip and have the second honeymoon of your life, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, well, that doesn't exist, folks. You wait till you see these pictures, you're going to absolutely flip. This is in 2 years, by the way. They've only been doing this for 2 years, remember. Okay? Now have a geek at this. Now that's what an atoll should look like. Now, watch what's underneath this. Now remember, these were supposed to be atolls. Gets worse. This is what they've done to these islands, folks. And to be honest with you, everybody should be furious about this, because they've just literally completely wrecked ecosystems doing what they're doing here. Have a look at the size of this, folks. And they reckon that this is just for scientific purposes, etc., etc. So they've done all this in 2 years. This is only one of the islands. This is another one. Well, look at this shit, folks. They've actually militarized the sea, sort of thing, in the middle of nowhere. Well, look at this. Look at this landing strip here. Look, it goes for friggin' miles. Like, they just didn't decide to do this overnight. Look, multi-story building with radon and parabolic deck on top, I think that says. Wind turbines, observation tower, communications towers, helipads, commo building, ratone, whatever that means. I'm not sure what that means. So they virtually just destroyed these islands, folks. I think that's the same island. No, it's not. This is another island. Completely different island, is it? Yeah, it's a completely different island. Look. So for all of you people, now you noticed on all of these, they've absolutely dredged the shit out of the area to get big ships in here. So they've destroyed everything, just ripped it up, destroyed it. And then put multi-story concrete buildings on there, communication towers. Now, by any stretch of the imagination, folks, And look, as I said, I'm not anti-Chinese. Let's get that right straight from the beginning. What I'm against, whether it's Muslims, Christians, blacks, whites, you know, the Ku Klux Klan, is people just generally thinking that they can do whatever they friggin' want in this world. And, you know, there's no comeback. You know, just because you want to do what you want to do, then that's okay. You know, and the rest of the world can just piss off. Well, it's not okay, and we shouldn't be accepting it. In actual fact, we should be protesting really vigorously, because this problem should have been fixed from the beginning by Obama, and Obama just let this, she'll be okay. Oh, you're just fishing and you're just using this and you're doing that. No, they friggin' weren't. Have you seen the planning? Like, I'm an ex-project manager from construction, big projects. You know how long it takes to do the planning for what they've done on those islands? You're talking 5-year plans. Designing, redesigning, you know, dredging the area, doing soil tests. They've done all that, and then they've gone and done all that. So you're not talking, before anyone jumps off the high bandwagon here and says, oh, well, you know, this is a 10-year plan, folks. So you've still got, if they took it 5 years, that's 7 years now. They've still got another, you know, 3 years before they fully militarise these islands. Think about that. And it's 5 hours from Pine Gap. 4, 5, 6, whatever. And what do you think the Chinese are going to do? And you can't tell me, and I have to say this, you can't tell me that it's just going to be the US going to war with these guys if it ends up happening like that. You got Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Thailand, sorry, not Thailand, Philippines, sorry. Like that, they're multi-populous countries as well. You know, like in Australia, we've only got 23 million people. You know, I can't even imagine how many are in the Philippines. What, 100 million? You know, just stacks. And they've got a pretty shit-hot military themselves, Philippines, because of the US. So, look, unless China comes to the table and says, look, all right, then this is going to end up in the world's biggest shit fight. And I can't see, and as I said to you before, there's an Australian submarine going around there at the moment. There's at least 3 to 4 Australian Navy ships there at the moment with Marines on them. So that if the Chinese actually sink an Australian ship, it's got Marines on it, what the hell do you think is going to happen then? It ain't going to be pretty. So, please, I'm begging you guys, please share this video with everybody and just make sure everyone's aware of what is actually going on right in our backyard, so to speak. Remember, if it's a 4-hour flight, 4 to 5 hours to 6-hour flight from that island to Pine Gap, it's also a 4 to 5 to 6-hour flight to Brisbane, Darwin. Darwin's even shorter, so it'd probably be a 4-hour flight. 3, Perth, because we've only got, you know, a token Air Force at Tyndall, which is up near there somewhere. So I'm imagining that in the next couple of weeks, if this keeps going the way it's going, and as I said, I'm not anti-Chinese, I'm not, you know, they've done a lot of good for the world as far as I can see in some of the things they're doing, but I have been saying for a while, they've been getting a bit belligerent about it, a lot of these countries, and just going in there and building military bases in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, what the hell are you doing? You know, like Somalia. Why the hell are the Chinese in Somalia? The Russians have just gone down to Venezuela to take over Venezuela as well. You know, and all this is going on while we're all just sitting there going, okay, everything's great. Where's my credit card? I lost my credit card. Oh God, I've got to go down to the mall and, you know, spend some more money on my credit card. So anyway, look, long and short of it is, it's going to be bad, and it's going to be a shit fight, and somewhere along the line you'd hope that someone, anybody, sees common sense here and just says, guys, these are not your islands. You can't just make it up that you want to be there and they're your islands. As I said to you, those Spratly Islands are so close to the Philippines you can actually throw a rock to them, and the Brunei. China, forget it, it's thousands of miles away. So there's no other way that this is going to happen. This is going to be like one of those test cases for the world. Oh, he's finally stopped mowing. Fantastic. His mower's probably got clogged up with all the wet grass that he's trying to mow. So, look, I'll leave it at that. We'll go to prayers, because we definitely need to say prayers. And to anybody else who thinks I'm whinging, well, I'm not whinging. I'm actually trying to help. I'm trying to show you exactly what is going on there. Okay, folks, verse of the day. Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. 1,000 years in your sight are like a day that has just gone by, or like a watch in the night. Very pertinent. Geez, these are good, aren't they? And as always, folks, we'll end with the Lord's Prayer. And by God, do we need, you know, prayers to sort of uplift and get everybody motivated to actually start understanding that, you know, you're going to have to encompass yourself with some spirituality in now and in the future, because I can't see it going any other way. And by spirituality I mean light, not darkness, because there is both. Excuse me. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And look, let's be honest, the Americans haven't got a great reputation at the moment for not taking over countries, etc., you know, and pretty well doing what the Chinese are doing at the moment. But look, there's a world of difference between going to Afghanistan and doing whatever you're going to do there, and Iraq and all that sort of stuff, then going building military bases in the middle of the South, you know, the South China Sea, thousands of miles away from where you are, militarising them and telling everyone else to piss off, you can't go there. It ain't going to work, folks. You know, no matter which way. And look, the Chinese must know that, so they're bunkering down for a big shit fight. But as I've said before, how do you beat B-52 bombers and stealth bombers that fly at 80,000 feet or whatever the hell they fly at? You know, as far as I know, there's probably nothing that can get up there anyway. So you would like to think that common sense would prevail here. Pray for it, folks. Really, I mean it, pray for it, because I can't see any other way out of this. And as you know, Trump is not someone he's already made they've already made their position clear through Mattis the other day. Anyway, prep out. God bless.